second?
Second.
Okay. Any comments or corrections? None heard? All approving, aye?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Thank you.
I'm sorry, I second that, and I wasn't here, so I need to abstain. I wasn't here last.
But you approve them.
But I understand.
Okay, yeah. Well, do we have a different second? Yes, it's been, we got a little different order here, but we have had the motion. It has been seconded by Linda Carr, and we've had any discussion, and this now that we've corrected the second, all approving, aye? Any opposed? Okay. Items for consideration.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and committee members. We have two items for your consideration today. First one is we are recommending an allocation of $1.4 million from the 2007 General Obligation Bond Authorization Proposition 1 Street Proposition in the unlisted street funds to be toward the project on Kelly Avenue. That's from Northeast 63rd Street to Wilshire Boulevard, and it is in Ward number 7. I will discuss some brief history of this corridor, and then I'll show you the status of the project we have through this corridor. Starting from south to north, projects start at Northeast 23rd Street. We have 2 miles of resurfacing, reconstruction that will resurface the 4-lane from 23rd Street to a little bit north of 36th Street intersection. And then also there's an existing 2-lane from there to 50th Street. That's the first 2 miles. The other mile has been already macro surfaced a few years ago. So this project starts from Northeast 63rd to Wilshire Boulevard. This is the last widening project of the 2000 GO bond, and I'll explain to you why it has delayed so much. The original listed project put $2.8 million for this widening, and originally city pursued the project toward the federal share with ODOT, but for reasons that probably the project was not competing very well in the region, decided to go back and do it, with our funding from the bond. So there was a preliminary report prepared in 2008, and at that time the construction cost was estimated at $3.7 million. So additional funds were requested and approved. And in 2009, we worked with the Oklahoma Army National Guard, and they are the lessee of the property on east side of the Kelly Avenue between Northeast 63rd and Wilshire Boulevard. Because of the transmission lines have to be relocated, we needed easement through their property and parking lot. So it took a while to secure that easement. Also, the cost of drainage is much higher than other projects. Also, we have intersection improvement at Wilshire that we need to add lanes and extend the road each side. So the length of it is 1.2 miles when you add the widening of Kelly and Wilshire Boulevard. We also got a grant from the Oklahoma Military Department because they wanted us to add some landscaping and gate reassembling at their entrance. So we have received $216,666 toward the landscaping, which will be as a bid in the project. We also wanted to make sure that the cost of this project be looked at again. So we did a process which is called peer review, or probably I've heard as a value engineering, to let another engineer look at the project and tell us if there are areas that we can save some cost. The engineer looked at it, but there were only minor things, so the cost really did not come down. So the construction cost is $4.6 million. So with that, we are short $1.4 million in order to go ahead and build this project. Currently, the project is in utility relocation, and as I mentioned, this corridor is saturated with utilities. OG&E has transmission lines, distribution lines, we have fiber optics, telephone, cable, pipelines, you name it. The relocations are projected to be finished in May, so we are planning to award this either in May or June. Construction should start in summer and probably would take 18 months to complete. I will open it to any questions before I go and explain the entire corridor. Yes. No, we have 4 additional miles of widening north of Wilshire that I will explain to you. They are coming up. They are in the 2007 GO bond, and they are under either pre-design or we are going to award them soon. The northern parts are ready between Hefner and Memorial. The 2 miles are ready to go, so they probably will start this summer as well. Yes.
Do you happen to know if Embark has done an evaluation for the need for a bus shelter on that stretch?
I don't know if this route is on bus routes or not, or if it would extend this far. I will check on that. But, you know, on any projects we have, we look at the bus route. If it is a bus route, then we coordinate with COTPA and look at the bus stops or bus shelters.
And I thought that was the case, but I thought it was interesting that when you look at, for instance, the background information, it lists all the other things that are done, but it doesn't specifically spell out that, and maybe it's because of what you said. I thought there was a bus route, but perhaps there isn't. But that language, I would think, should appear that includes an evaluation of the need for a bus shelter.
Yeah, the language you see here is basically the language that was in the 2000 bond, which is very general. But, our process is that we look at any preliminary stage, we look at the street and whether it's a bus route, whether it's, something that COTPA is planning to do, any upgrades or improvements. So I'll check on this and get back with you. And Kelly.
If you would, kind of get back with us next month on that, that would be great.
Sure, I will do that. Let me give you some information on the traffic. Our traffic counts through this area changes, from north, from Memorial to about Hefner, you have anywhere from 7,000 to 9,000 cars a day. Then it drops off to about 5,000 to about Wilshire, and then it goes up to about 10,000 by the time you reach the 23rd Street. So it's growing traffic, basically. Also, we already have traffic signals and channelization completed at the northeast 122nd and Kelly with another project. Also, the traffic signal at Hefner is also completed. So those have been improved, and we'll be looking at the signals warrant studies for the intersection of Britton and Kelly, and also at Wilshire and Kelly. Those will be looked at. There's already an existing signal at Northeast 63rd and Kelly. Chances are that, with the growing traffic, we may have to put signal, but that's, we go through the warrant study to make sure those are warranted.
Second.
Motion, second. Thank you.
And there's
those
some
in-
photos.
All those in favor?
I'm sorry.
Aye.
Aye.
Any objections? No. Okay. Go
You
ahead.
see some of the photos that we have of existing facility. This is the photos you see is the project that we needing additional funds. But I also given some photos of the other areas that are coming up. The two locations that we are getting ready as well to bid and construct the project is 2 miles, which is between Memorial and Hefner. We are looking at start of construction this summer. Utilities are pretty much relocated, and we expect by the end of this month, the utilities will be clear, and we'll be able to go ahead and bid the project. The 2 miles most likely will be on one contract since the traffic signals are done at the intersection, so it's just the area in between the intersections, so we feel that the traffic interruptions are not going to be as severe, and we can go ahead and do the 2 miles with one contract. We also got 2 more miles south of there from Hefner to Wilshire, and currently we are negotiating contracts with the consulting engineers to begin the design of the widening of those 2 miles. We already done a conceptual study because the cost of utilities are so high. If we can move the roads few feet to one direction, so we do not need to relocate the transmission lines, and we were able to do that. So in these 2 miles, we will be shifting the road somewhat to the west side to avoid relocating all the transmission lines. That's what the plan is. And again, the 2 miles south from Northeast 50th to Northeast 23rd, the resurfacing should start in the next 2 months. We are planning to resurface that 2 miles.
Okay.
If there's no questions, I can move on to item B. Item B is we have 2 swimming pools in 2 parks that have aquatic facilities, Woodson and Will Rogers. Woodson is at 3405 South May Avenue, and Will Rogers Family Aquatic Center is at 3201 North Grand Boulevard. We had projects in the 2007 to improve the parks, but the amenities that were included in the 2000 GO bond did not include any work for the aquatic center or the swimming pools. The swimming pools in these two locations have some spalling concrete and need some concrete repair done to them before the season starts in Memorial Holiday. So we are requesting $125,000 from the unlisted park in 2007 GO bond in order to repair these two locations and get them ready for the swimming season. Any questions I can accommodate?
Has there been any talk about closing either one of these city pools? I know that it was discussed, seemed like last year about this time, that there may have been some city pools that were not going to open for the season.
So I'm Doug Dowler, the budget director for the city. I can tell you that in the FY18 budget that's coming up, Parks has not proposed any changes at these pools. They're planning to operate those as normal this year.
Move we approve.
Those approving, aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
And Erica.
The bond executive summary was not listed on the agenda, but I did pass out a copy to everybody, and it just goes over that year to date we have $24.4 million in contract awards, and over the next couple of months through May we're anticipating $47.1 million. So that'll reach us to that'll get us on target for our anticipated contract awards, because we will be at about $71.5 million by then. And that's we have reached the 85% for the 2014 sale year, and we're on target for the rest. If there's any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have a general question, Harry or someone. Can someone tell me the process that items get to the advisory board? I assume staff, the city manager and certain staff get together and make a decision as to what projects. Can you tell me like how far in advance they do that, how often they meet, and who those people might be? Curious about that process. I thought that would be you winding up doing it.
I can't speak to exactly how Public Works works internally. I know they have a monthly meeting where they look at the projects and what the status is, whether they're looking like they're going to be underfunded in certain areas. So they meet once a month to develop those recommendations, and then those go to what we have the Bond Oversight Committee, which consists of the city manager and assistant city managers. They meet once a month on the
So
third.
that's called the Bond Oversight
Committee.
And
So that's the staff committee where they
see.
review all these requests
Okay.
before they would come to you. They also look at other things like the advanced MFA, the advanced funding for MFA to try to get projects moving sooner. They approve those projects as well. So anything that comes to you all, unless it's an emergency, would have been through the city manager's office
And again, I
beforehand.
think I heard you said that's all of the all the assistant city managers?
That's
and-
correct.
And,
Public Works Director, the Finance Director is there as
Okay,
well.
okay.
For the meeting as well,
and they meet
every month.
every month?
Every-
Okay.
Unless there's just no activity,
Right.
there's nothing.
And then they would be, and that's why obviously we would not meet.
Right, so yes, generally that happens about the second or third week of the month, and then you all meet on the first
Okay.
week of the month following that.
All right, thank you.
It's fine. Thank you, Chairman. We do have a resolution where council adopted to follow Robert's Rules of Order. As far as I know, this board has not adopted any similar resolution. Doug, are you familiar with any resolution that says that? Okay. I mean, we have been doing business like this for 20-plus years, and I think we're fine. So, but thank you for the question.
So moved.